heavy. Discussions hit the floor, we're steady. Truths unfold like cards on a table. Raw and real, always unstable. Tuesday talk, we're vibing right. Topics blaze like city lights. Truth and laughs, we keep it live. Tuesday's the night we all thrive.
Good evening, SBC. Good evening, SBCC. Good evening, BSL. And good evening to everyone else within the sounds of my voice. North, south, east, west, and all points in between. You've tuned in to the May 6th, 2025 edition of SBC Tuesday Talk. And I am your host, van driver, teacher, administrator, facilitator, and most importantly, head chef, Mr. Mike Walker. Glad to have each one of y'all here with us. Glad you could join us. And, we hope and pray that you had a good day today. And if not, you made it through this day. We'll pray that tomorrow be a better day for you. We thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence and your participations. We do participation and patience. And we don't take it lightly. We don't take it for granted. We truly thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Without further ado, guess what? We're going to do our announcements. Not announcements, salutations. So we're going to get started, though. First up, from the Palmetto State, the Gospel Source, Sister Madison. Glad to have you here with us. Glad you could join us. Let's not be bougie tonight. Glad you could join us. From the Sunshine State, T. Carter Road. So happy that you're here. I'm so glad that you're here. From Beham Metro, Marcus Wilbanks. Glad to have you here, sir. Glad to have you here, sir. Kimberly Mack. Good to have you here, ma'am. Pleasure to have you here. Anna Sunshine, great to have you here. Is this your first time here? Help me out. I believe it is, though, but good to have you here. Hope it won't be your last, though. Okay. Hey, okay. Pastor Darlene Duffy Collins, good evening to you, ma'am. Great to have you here. Theodora, great to have you here from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Good to have you here. Miracle, well, hello. Glad to have you here. Pastor Balders, also from South Carolina. Great to have you here, sir. Valerie, always a pleasure to have you here. Hope you're doing all right. Hope you're doing good. Oh, well, to God be the glory. Thank you. Much obliged. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to look good. Shireen, good evening to you. Glad to see you here from our nation's capital, Washington, in the District of Columbia. Okay, Cassandra from Kansas. Great to have you here, ma'am. Glad to have you here. Miller Lee, good evening to you, ma'am. Good evening to you. Think you're a first timer as well. If so, hey, hope this won't be your last. Angel Kelly from Rocket City, Huntsville, Alabama. Good evening to you, ma'am. Anna, you are from the borough of Queens, New York. That's good right there. And that's your first time. Okay, like I said, hope this won't be your last. Yes, sir. Okay. L from the Windy City of Chicago. Greetings and salutations to you as well. Okay. Well, and I forgot Kimberly. Good evening to you, Kimberly. Great to have you here, ma'am. Great to have you here. And Shar from north of the border, from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Good evening to you, ma'am. And oh yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yes, this is bad business. That's all I got to say. This is real bad business. Okay. Okay, well, we're going to get started, though. We are going to get started. We got a lot of ground to cover. A lot of ground to cover, though. So, trying to see where we're going to start at, though. Well, let's do this right here. This kind of an icebreaker. Let me look at all what we got here, though. Ooh, okay. Let's do this right here, right quick. Um, right here. This was in the group, posted in the group last week, though. And of course, we won't stay on this too long, though. But here it goes. It says she needed money for an emergency, but you didn't have anything to give. Is she wrong from getting money from her ex? And I'm gonna change it around. This can apply to a man or a woman. He needed money for an emergency, but you didn't have anything to give. Is he wrong for getting the money from his ex? So, what say y'all? What say y'all? Is a person wrong for asking their ex for financial assistance while they're dating someone else? It's one thing they're not dating anybody. That's a whole different story. But are they wrong for asking an ex for financial assistance when they're involved? The person who's asking is involved with someone else. What say y'all? What say y'all? You know, now I'm trying to look at it from all sides, though. Uh, if that was me dating and the lady that I'm dating is asking her ex for assistance, I would feel some kind of way. I'm just going to be honest with you. I would feel some kind of way, but I also would look at myself, you know, maybe I might need to try to do better next time that I'm able to help her, though, but I would feel, I think emotionally, I know I would definitely feel some kind of way. I'm just going to be honest with you. I would feel some kind of way. So, let me see what we got here. I think it's disrespectful. Oh yeah, the recipe for drama is there. The recipe for drama was definitely there. Elle says she says it's wrong. Okay. Kimberly says it's let me do this right here. Kimberly says dead wrong. They don't have a friend or family to help them. Now I'm gonna play advocate here. Okay, I hate saying devil's advocate, but I decided to play advocate here. What if she went to them first, or and they couldn't help her, and that was pretty much her last resort? What then? And we're talking about an emergency. We may not be talking about something frivolous, but an emergency. Then what? What happens then? Okay, red flag. Okay, that's interesting. Now, how would that be a red flag if she asked her ex for financial assistance? How would that be defined as a red flag? You know, it's stepping over the boundaries of a relationship. Okay, Shireen, I'll ask you this. How so? How so? And I'm just asking. I mean, there's no right or wrong answers. I'm just asking for different viewpoints and opinions. Yes, they are wrong. That's disrespectful to the relationship. Okay. Hey John, how you doing? Pop goes to we. Oh, okay. That's a way to put it right there. Marcus, we always say that an ex is an ex for a reason. That's true. If I'm dating a lady, I would not cross the boundaries from an emotional standpoint. A good way to look at it. And Reginald kind of backs you up. An ex is an ex for a reason. Break up all contact to prevent drama. Okay. Valerie says, I think it's inappropriate. Okay. L, there has to be some other acceptable option as opposed to going to an ex. Shireen, I will go to my family first before asking the ex. Okay. T says, leave the past relationship in the past. You open up doors for drama. She's asking her ex, or he's asking his ex. That means they're still communicating while in a relationship with you. Ah, yes, they are wrong. There should be other avenues to get that emergency money. Reginald, this reminds me of a Martin episode where Gina got some money from Cole. Martin was in the bathroom. Okay. If she was going behind his back and not communicating with him about getting money from the ex, okay, that's something to think about right there. Ask a neighbor or co-worker if friend or family is not able to help. Okay. Valerie says, I may need to check my situation. I could never look at that person the same. I would not want support that idea. Okay. I would not want to support that idea. Okay. My bad. Okay. I appreciate the emphasis on emergency, Mike, because I had overlooked that part. But I still feel that there has got to be some other acceptable option besides DX. Okay. Okay. Sister Madison, if it's an ex-spouse, I might understand, especially if it's an emergency with housing or children. But I need to know, are they emotionally and physically done? Is the ex a go-to for everything? That is a good point. That's a good question right there. Is that ex the go-to? Is the panacea, the solution to every problem that you have? You know, and what kind of stress that would cause within the relationship. You're always going to her. You're always going to him. Then that make you kind of question your own usefulness or that person's usefulness. Something to think about. I'm glad you brought that up. Sometimes an ex is not always an enemy. It depends on how you broke up. I know some of my exes, we're still friends because being a couple wasn't working, but our friendship was stronger. So really, it depends. And I was thinking about that. I got 2 or 3 exes that I'm good friends with, not just friends, but good friends with. It can happen. It can happen. I don't remember that one. Okay, the episode of Martin. Okay, but it's bringing the ex back into the picture, and there might be feelings there, still there on the ex part, which is dangerous. And it could be manipulation. They could be saying to themselves, see, they keep coming back to me. They'll be back. Watch. Just like that. Well, I hope they don't say it like that, though. But okay, I agree. Uh, is she wrong for not telling him about borrowing the money? Well, the meme says doesn't indicate whether or not he knew. It doesn't indicate though, but there is some question. Would there be a trust issue? She went and asked him and he didn't know. Would there be a future problem though? Donna, excuse me. Donna, good to see you. That's unacceptable. Going to an ex because I would question their relationship. Okay. True, but we can't be ignorant of Satan's devices. True that. And he's definitely going to use the situation of you going to an ex. I agree. Yep. Yep. Okay. I think that's it right there. Yep. Yep. Well, like I said, we ain't going to stay on this one too long, though. But like I said, that's an icebreaker. But all I got to say is if it becomes an issue where the person, your significant other, is going to their ex for help and you're not able to help them, then it may be time to reevaluate y'all relationship. Because if I'm in a relationship, I want to be able to help my lady. I don't want to be seeing her having to go to him because I'm found wanting. Okay? And I'm going to say this right here. The ex can hold that borrowing of money on the shoulders as being unable to provide the needs for his partners. Yes, 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 yes. I agree. That's it. Thank you so much, Sister Kimberly. Thank you so much. Well, on to the next thing. I've been in queue for so long. I think I'm gonna get this one. Uh where is the video? Let me get to the video right quick. Okay, y'all sit back and take a listen.
Also, folks be acting like cheating only means sleeping with somebody else. Nah. Just like you can have microaggressions, you can have micro cheating too. All that little flirting at work with your work wife, work husband. If your partner had a work wife or work husband, you wouldn't like it. Micro cheating. Low key commenting under suggestive photos with like hard eyes and like all that stuff. Micro cheating. Keeping in contact with an ex or somebody that you used to sleep with. Micro cheating. Of course, them secret dating app profiles that you done kept or forgot to delete. Micro cheating. Keeping those past nudes or videos from past relationships or encounters. Micro cheating. And this one might just be me, but sharing personal details or intimate details or always complaining about your partner to somebody outside the relationship, that's micro cheating to me. Because why are you so hypercritical of your partner? You ain't got like nothing nice to say? You love them, don't you? Don't you? That's micro cheating to me.
Micro cheating. Micro cheating. So what say y'all? Let's be honest. How many of y'all are guilty, either intentionally or unintentionally, of micro cheating? I'm raising my hand. I'm raising my hand, y'all. How many of y'all ever done that? Is it just as bad as what we call big cheating? Is it just as bad? Are they the same? What have you? Let's see what we got here. Kimberly says interesting. Yeah. I don't disagree with him. Cool term, micro cheating. Never. She says she's done it. And you know what? You don't go into it. Wait a minute. I did. Okay. If you got to hide it, you are cheating. You know what? And it's something, Shaw. Okay. And this is something you just don't go into. It can just happen. You at your workplace, and that person, your co-worker of the opposite sex, y'all hit it off. And sometimes y'all might hit it off better than the person you're dating or even married to. And so it can happen, and you can stumble, and you can find yourself connecting more with that person than your own significant other. And it can happen, and sometimes, like he said, your work spouse. I mean, who came up with that nonsense right there? That's my work husband. That's my work wife. Now that's disrespectful, especially if you married. I mean, it's disrespectful if you dating somebody outside the work. But if you married and then you saying you got a work spouse, that ain't gonna work right there. That's like going window shopping. Just because you don't buy, don't get you off the hook. Even if you think about it, even though you have never done it, you're still guilty. Because Cassandra, it could come to something more if you're not careful. Yes, I have done it. And I think we've all done it unintentionally. We didn't realize it. We just happen to have a better rapport with that person at work or at other places, such as church or anywhere, place of business, a place that you go frequent, and y'all might have great rapport, and you don't realize it, you know. But go back to what he was saying, and you know, do y'all? I think he brought it up, and y'all help me out. He brought up liking inappropriate pictures or what have you on social media. Do y'all agree that that would count as micro cheating? In other words, well, I just say Kimberly, since she's been good. Kimberly, let's say if I'm dating you, Kimberly Carletta, and you see that I've been liking other women's posts, like they're doing they're twerking or whatever. Would that be considered micro cheating in your opinion? And others though. So, you know, y'all help me out with this. Right. Disrespectful, yes, especially emotionally. Exactly that. No, I don't believe it's the same, but I believe boundaries should be set if you're in a committed relationship or married. Okay. I understand if it just happened, but reflect on the incident and don't let it happen no more. Okay. Hey, Zola, good to have you. I've been micro cheated on, but it wasn't micro to me. Ah, absolutely. I never did because I was in a domestic violent relationship and feared he would show up randomly at work. Oh wow. Glad you out of there. Hey Keisha, good to have you. Looking could get me in trouble. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to put you in timeout. Absolutely yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. If your mind and heart is wandering back and forth with others or to past relationships, profiles, you may indeed be forsaking the current relationship in some form. Mm, that's a good one, Sister Madison. That's a real good one right there. It's very disrespectful and indicative of lust. Okay. 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 Let me see. Remember the last topic we discussed? Micro cheating is just as bad as cheating. Its definition means it's definite, but no, that is a good point, Marcus. Means subtle behaviors or actions. Micro cheating often involves crossing boundaries that violate the unspoken word in relationships. Okay. Let me see what we get here. Okay, because this thing gets all kind. Okay, let me see right here. Valerie says, I think so. Okay. Boundaries should be set. Now, as you know, we were talking about that money, just a few minutes ago. Would that be considered micro cheating to an extent? Would you consider that micro cheating? That you went and asked your ex for that financial support and you didn't tell your current uh significant other about it? Would that be considered micro cheating? Shireen says yes. Okay. And that's interesting right there. Okay. Watching videos that you shouldn't be watching, micro cheating. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying right there. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Theodora says yes, that would be considered micro cheating. Y'all coming on here. Let me look at something right quick. Okay, y'all coming on. Wait, let me see something right quick. Good. Okay. I was just trying to see something. So I'm just gonna say this now. One thing is, very well said. Okay. Yeah. Much obliged. I don't know. We can easily fall into that trap of micro cheating. But I also look at it this way. Just like the financial situation, if you can easily fall into that micro cheating trap, then you may have to reevaluate the relationship and yourself. You may have to look at yourself too. Yes, I'm not really sure about going so far as a person liking a person's pictures. Maybe they're constantly liking their pictures and posting 50 comments. Then that might be a red flag right there. But what if they're twerking? What if you and I were dating, Angel, and I'm constantly liking this woman's twerk videos? Would that be considered micro cheating to you, Kimberly? When I'm in a relationship, I don't test those boundaries. Innocently flirting can lead to emotional detachment. And you know what? This might sound crazy to y'all. Physical cheating is bad. I mean, that's pretty much the ultimate right there. Physical cheating is bad. Cheating with somebody physically, but knowingly cheating with somebody emotionally, ooh, to me that's a stab in the heart right there. Both your metaphorical heart and your real heart, your actual heart. That's what I believe, though. That y'all might think differently. Micro cheating can sometimes mean exactly, that's what I said. If you're easily drawn into micro cheating, then something's wrong in that relationship, in your marriage. Something's not going good. Sonia for Queens, good to have you. What he is saying, I have done it with the person I am with now. Oh, but we were friends at the time, and he would talk to me about how he felt about the person he was with. Until I was single, I really didn't talk about my exes to him. Okay. Yep, that cheating, you going back to the same water. What the word says, dog returned to his own vomit. True. And like I said, we got to be careful, y'all. We got to be careful. We're going to move on, but we got to be careful. Again, if you're so easy to fall prey in the micro cheating, there's, you got to reevaluate yourself and the relationship that you're in. Okay. Ha 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 ha. Okay then. Well, guess what? Icebreaker, the little salad. Now here's the main course, y'all. Y'all ready? Okay. We're going to play this video because y'all know what the main topic is. So let's get with this. Y'all sit back and relax and take a listen.
Why does a man feel like he has to sleep with a lot of women to feel like a man?
It's promoted. I mean, I remember when I lost my virginity, I was with my cousin. We were driving to the store. He says, hey, I'm going to stop by my girlfriend's house. And I believe I was, 16 at the time. We go in the house and she has a little sister who was very cute. So he goes in the room and he's having sex. And me and her little sister are talking. When they come out, we get in the car. My cousin's driving. He says, hey, did you have sex with her? I'm like, no. He says, did you kiss her? I'm like, no, I just met her. He was like, you a virgin? I'm like, I haven't had sex before. When we pull up into his house where all my uncles were, my cousins and my mother, he yelled out, hey, Jason's a virgin. The entire house erupted in laughter. So when I looked around at my mother, she was laughing. It made me angry because here it is. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I thought this was the way. I didn't know I had to just have sex with a woman that I don't care about for me to be validated as a man. But that's the culture. That's like the initiation into manhood. As soon as I got back to Detroit, I called a friend who knew a girl who liked me, and I went over the house because I knew I could have sex with her real quick and I can get this stigma up off of me. I didn't even care about her. I had no emotions. I did it because this was what I was taught as a man. You're not a man if you're faithful to one woman, and you're not a man if you're a virgin. So that day I lost my virginity, my mindset shifted. All you can be is strong, provide, or be promiscuous. And this is your identity. We hide behind the suits, the cigars, the cars, the jewelry, the watches. Inside that home, there's a man depressed, on the edge, and possibly suicidal.
Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. That's sad, y'all. That's sad right there. Okay, I'm gonna ask y'all some questions and your thoughts and what have you, though. But I tell you what, I could relate to what he's talking about, because and maybe a lot of us guys, maybe y'all females, but definitely us guys, you going to school, high school, and shucks. Where I came from, elementary school for that matter, but definitely high school. If they found out that you're a virgin, oh man, you got talked about. What we would say, you got cracked on. They'll be like, oh, you ain't never had no kitty cat. You know what they really called it though. Oh, you ain't never had none in your life, and they would tell me they wasn't too bad on me. Now I say that though, but whenever the opportunity came about, man, you ain't had none. And then looking back in hindsight, I don't think they had any. They never, well, I don't think they did it either though, but just talking. But hey, we was, like I said, 8th grade talking like that. And then high school talking like that. Ah, you still a virgin? Okay, And now I never got it as bad as him. Didn't even, because I feel bad for him. His own mother laughing at him and family members laughing at him. That's not good. That's failure on his mother's part and failure on the men in his family part. They failed him. And flash forward, and I'm being honest, transparent, and everything. And y'all don't have to share your stories, of course, Just want your thoughts though. When I finally crossed that threshold in my mid-20s, yeah, I'm telling the whole world this though, and my first reaction to it was, that was it? This right here was the hoopla, and I would be honest with you, I felt dirty and unclean. I'm going to be honest with you. And that's what happened. Now, he was a teenager. I was in my 20s. Of course, my mindset changed as well, y'all know. But just that initial connection, So, how did y'all feel about that? How were you? I don't want to hear about what happened, but were you ever pressured, always nagged about, inquired about your sexual status? You're a virgin during those, what is it? Those, I guess what they call informative years when we were in elementary school or high school. How was it with you? Was the pressure bad for you growing up? Because it was pretty bad. Not like Brother right there. Not even close to what he went through, but still, it was bad on my end though. So let's see what y'all got to say. Ready? That's sad. Yes, it's terrible. Mm-hmm. Very, very. But guess what? That's the mindset. And I hate to throw guys, my fellow males, under the bus, but that's how it was. It was just that typical male, in that case, misogyny right there. You know, you're not a man until you got you some. You're not a man until you got a harem of women. You know, that's crazy right there. That's crazy right there. Was he an adult when this happened? No, he was still, if I'm not mistaken, and somebody please help me out. He had to been still a teenager when that happened. He was a teenager when it happened. Somebody correct me. Somebody correct me. Hey, Renee, good to have you. Doggone shame. There was definitely peer pressure to give it up coming up. Wow. Wow, that's sad. I'm sorry that his mom didn't have his back and tell him that. So that's the part that's real, that his mom went along with that foolishness, with that tomfoolery right there. And again, I say it again, his mom failed him. His mom failed him, and his uncles who failed him. Because I know I wouldn't have laughed at my nephew doing that right there. I wouldn't have did that. So that's just me though. I'm not surprised about the kids doing it. But his mom, yeah, that's insane. Like I said, the peer pressure, of course, you're gonna rag each other. You're gonna, as guys, we ragged each other. Plain and simple. Did you do that? And I mean, I've heard foul conversations. Yeah, oh, such and such. Almost called somebody's name. Oh, such and such. Yeah, she'll give it up easily. Stuff, that's the talk I heard. Now, I don't know what your other fellows heard, but I know what I heard here in Beltsville, Alabama. Okay? And to you ladies, how was the peer pressure to you as far as virginity? I mean, I can imagine you had guys trying to get that, though. But how was it with your fellow females? How was it? Was there any type of peer pressure or, to get you to give up the goods, lack of a better term? Okay. This is acceptable in the world we live in, but if you're a woman, then you're labeled negatively. That's true. And as much as I still down the hill, taking up for my men, my fellow guys. But there are times there's a big double standard. If a man has had a lot of women, he's a player. He's a stud. He's a big guy. But if a woman has been promiscuous, she's a harlot. She's a slut. She fast. Big double standard though. This is very sad. The people in his life were very negative. If he had the right man in his life, he should have been applauded for it. I respect him for that. But because of the negativity surrounding him, he felt compelled to do it and become the young man he did not want to be. Amen, Sonia. I like that right there. Amen. I agree with you 100% right there. It resonates with me regarding the part of not understanding the gift of virginity and feeling like it was burdensome to still be a virgin. I agree. I experienced that as early as grammar school, and so that resonates. I think this is why it's important for parents to have a strong bond with their children so that the parent can be the primary influence when it comes to this. Amen. Amen to that right there, L. You said a mouthful for that. Miracle, and I agree. I agree. That's the terrible part. And the uncles, maybe they might have been drunk. I don't know. It's still no excuse. But your own mama, though. If nobody else don't supposed to, if nobody else not gonna be there for you, mom, that's the last one that's gonna laugh at you about that. Yeah. I was never questioned or teased. It wasn't a big deal. Okay. Shireen, I was dating a guy after graduating high school, and he told me that he lost his virginity at 12 from his babysitter. I was a virgin. I felt terrible afterwards. I cried to my sister. Oh, wow. I mean, you cried about his story, or you cried because, I mean, it's sad, Well, wow. That's deep, and we have to look at the messages we send people, especially youth as they are growing up. Amen. Kimberly, I didn't have pressure growing up as a young woman. I grew up in a Christian home. Okay, amen to that. Definitely appreciate your transparency on this, Mike. Okay, you're welcome. I think this is a really good and important conversation to have. Yes. And I'm going to be honest, add a little levity to this conversation. When I posted the adverse, the advertisement for this week's show, and it says, losing your virginity, this graphic right here, I guess folks got nervous about it, probably. What Mike gonna talk about this week? But this is what we talking about. But to God be the glory. Maybe my experience can help someone else, though, who's dealing with that situation. He said he was 16. Okay, Reggie says, it never came up. I guess the guys who I hung out with, we kept it to ourselves. My mom would never have allowed that situation. Oh, mine wouldn't either. Ooh, no, she would beat my behind. Very sad. Okay, very sad. Yeah, she'll beat my behind now. But anyway, I agree about the man. He cried about the mom. That's terrible. I don't know if his mom's still here. I hope there was some type of reconciliation, some healing over that. And his uncles, but there's his mom, though. Yeah. Hey, Pastor Barbara, good to have you here. No, you didn't have any pressure. Okay. Cleo says, what amazed me was how people were quick to talk about everyone else and not themselves. I agree. Stigma was not only placed on virgins, but also the ones who got caught and pregnant. One of my classmates for real, was recorded in attempted suicide. Oh, man. Oh, wow. I sure hate to hear that right there. I hope she all right. I mean, I hope she's all right emotionally and mentally. And there is stigma. There's stigma on those who either were still virgins, either by choice or they couldn't find anybody. And or those who were known to, I hate to say this, give it up, And I'm going to be honest with you. I was not a virgin by choice. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like what we say down here in Bessemer, I was mannish. It's not like I didn't try, but still, I'm just going to be honest with you on that, though. Men experience depression and ridicule for being, of course, because we're men. We supposed to Oh goodness. Oh goodness. I got a story. I don't even know if I should even tell it. I don't even know if I should tell it. I mean, it just popped up in my mind right now. And I hadn't thought about that. Well, oh gosh, let me think. Let me think. Lord help me. Do I want to tell that story? I'll think about it. I'll micro pray over it while I read these other comments. I feel like females were more pressured than males. It's not the easiest to be accepted or to fit in as a virgin. Okay. Okay. I didn't have any problems because everyone was scared of my big brother. Oh, yeah, okay. That take care of that right there, doesn't it? Okay. Peer pressure growing up is very exhausting. Yes. I feel his hurt. Something about his tone of voice when talking about it. Yeah, it hurt. I think he's more hurt about his mom. I think he's more hurt about that. I think, and that I hurt for him. I hurt for him. Very. AC Green from the Lakers was a virgin way into his adult years. I'm sure the guys in the locker room crack on him, but he stood his ground. Amen to that. I cried because he took, oh, wow. Mm, mm. Oh, I give you a big hug. That's right. Mom completely. Yeah. Yeah. She was a total letdown. I wasn't pressured by my peers, but it did get quiet when they asked if I was a virgin and I said yes. Okay. Mark, this was a classic story of the birds and the bees. I can care less if I was teased about being a virgin. I admit that I had given it up, 19. And and that premature of me because I don't know how to first love myself. Oh wow. I like that little part because you know what, that is that is a good point, Marcus. That's a good point because how on earth I'm gonna so-called make love to a woman when I don't know how to love myself? That's a good part, Mark. I like that. I didn't respond to the ad because I didn't know what it meant. Probably a lot of folks didn't know. That's the mystery of Mike Walker in SBC Tuesday Talk. But yes, I'm glad you pushed through this topic because it's important. Thank you. To God be the glory. Sad. Mm. That's what classic. Okay, I just read. Okay. Share the story. It could help somebody. No, it ain't bad, but that's awesome. Okay. No, I'm not gonna put that up there. My mom always taught me to wait until marriage, but I did lose my virginity at a young age. And I was pressured, but I was considered fast by a lot of older people. Okay. Uh Amen. Okay. Okay. Well, I just got to say it was tough. I'll probably tell the story in in the after. No, what? I'll tell it in the after party. I'll tell it in the after party. Y'all better remind me. I'll tell it in the after party though. So y'all better tell. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Angel. I'll tell it in the after party though. Pretty interesting story though. Okay, about yeah. I'll just tell y'all. Okay. Okay. Well, we almost out of time, so we just got one more we're gonna deal with though. And whatever we don't deal with, yeah, well, that's fine. Oh yeah, these were two good ones though. But I'll just deal with this one right quick. Y'all ready for this one right here? Because I know y'all been hearing about this nonsense right here. Okay, I'm just gonna just add it to the stage right now. Okay, people. Okay, people. Now I know y'all may or may not have heard about this right here. Okay. Oops. Hold on. Okay. About 100 men versus one gorilla. Okay. Okay. Let me get this back here. The story is, I don't know who started this, but I kept hearing about this last week. Okay. And Renee. Yeah, here we go. Let me put this up here. Oh, my mouse. Yeah. Okay. About somebody came up with who would win between one gorilla and 100 men. So 100 men go against one gorilla. What say y'all? What say y'all? What will happen? I'm gonna tell you. I'll let y'all answer this because I don't want to influence y'all answer. But what y'all say? Who would win? Who would win? 100 men going against what gorilla? A big silverback gorilla. Okay? Who would win? I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree. But it's 100 men now. 100 men fight one gorilla? A silverback. Sandra, good to have you, pretty lady. Okay. The gorilla. Okay. The gorilla. Okay. Yeah, there was a meme that, yes, Brock Lesnar. Yes. There was one. Have you seen one? There was one with the Undertaker as well. So yeah. Oh, Cleo says, my question is why? What's the purpose? Are we fighting for food? Do the people have weapons? So many questions. I assume they're gonna use their bare fist and try to fight this gorilla. That's what I believe. That gorilla looks swole. I'm going with the gorilla. Well, those silverbacks, they are swole. Those things are strong now. I think they could do about 4 or 5 times, or somebody look it up, the strength of a man. They got the endurance, Woof. The gorilla is super strong and the adrenaline is on infinite. Basically, all the men would need to bum rush him and start stabbing him with human bones to get the best of him. Well, this is some of our discourse. Hey, Shantina, the gorilla, of course. Okay. Folks come up with everything on social media, don't they? This is what I think. I think if they do that and they go in waves, I think it depends. I say the first 20 men gonna die or be seriously maimed. One of my best friends said the first 40 gonna either die or be seriously maimed. The remaining 60 might have a chance if they go in waves. I've heard so many crazy stuff about how to do it. Send the crackheads at them first, then the winos, and then build your way up till you get to the best of the best. I mean, I say it this way. Even if the men win, somebody's gonna get hurt and somebody's gonna get killed. That's the way I look at it. Somebody's gonna get hurt and or killed. Yeah, I saw silverback gorilla at the DC National Zoo. He is 400 pounds. No beating the gorilla. It's their nature in the wild. Is this a black people challenge? This sounds like, well, I don't know who came up with it. That's the only thing I'm gonna say. But it's crazy though. This is crazy. All I'm gonna say is this. I'm not gonna do it. Wait, let me see. If they fed the gorilla strategically from a distance and hit him with tranquilizer, I don't know. Gonna be slow singing and flower brain. Silver Black can lift over 1,700 pounds of dead weight. Yeah. And they could just tear them apart, though. So that would be, I don't know. All I'm going to say is, y'all, don't try this. Don't try this at home. That's all I'm going to say. Don't try this at home. Well, guess what? Folks, we're out of time. We're out of time, y'all. That hour went by fast. So guess what? We're going to talk about these old announcements, okay? Up next, in about 30 minutes, at the bottom of the hour, half past the hour, we're going to have the after party. If you're in Single Black Christians or Single Black Christian Connections in either one of those groups, the link is already posted. It's posted already. You can go there if you like, but I ain't going to let you in to about half past the hour, though. So, but get your snacks and your dinners ready. I'm going to eat me a big old fish sandwich. So, we get ready. We're going to have a good time. Remind me to tell that story, though. And then next week is the weekly fellowship, Lord willing. We'll just be like the after party, just an hour earlier. And we had a good time last week. Hopefully, prayerfully, we have a good time next week with the after party this week. So, and then after that, Lord willing, we'll have another exciting and thought-provoking episode of SBC Tuesday Talk. Okay. And thank y'all so much for being here. Thank y'all. And please, 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 do this for me. Please like, please go to my YouTube channel. That's it right there. Well, I'm wearing white shirt, so you can't hardly see it good. YouTube.com/@Mike Walker SBC. Please do that. Please subscribe. It don't cost you anything. Just subscribe. And these videos, if you're watching it on YouTube and you're watching it on Facebook, please share the video. Like, subscribe, and share. But also, if you subscribe to watch it through YouTube, you get notified better about these videos, though. Didn't know that, did you? So make sure you do that, okay? Well, that's it. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate y'all. So thank y'all. Y'all be good to each other. Be blessed. Take care. Stay out of trouble. Stay vigilant. And please don't take any wooden nickels, okay? Until then, so long, everybody.
We met where the sun greets the sky so high. Laughter in your eyes where my dreams collide. You held my hand when the storms poured down. Turned the gray into light when I wore a frown. Through thick and thin you were always there. The moments we shared, nothing can